Hello everyone, and welcome back to another lesson on Microsoft Excel. So in this lesson, I'm going to show you guys the Backstage area of Microsoft Excel. Now what is the Backstage area? Now it's similar to the Start screen, but it's a bit different. Let me show you on Microsoft Excel. So basically, when we open a blank workspace in Microsoft Excel, it would look like this, right? Now if you want to go and explore the Backstage, you can just simply click on File. And you might be thinking it's taken you to the Start screen, but this is actually not the Start screen. This is actually the Backstage area. Here you'll find all of the options that you'll find on the Start screen, but there are also extra options that are only contextual to your present workbook that you created. Now basically, if I click on back, it will take me back to my workbook. Now notice if I close this window. Now closing this is just simple, just by clicking on File and clicking on this Close, it will close up. Now if I go back to the file, you can see all of these options, they have been turned off. Alright, so this is basically our Backstage area, or you can call this the Start screen. Okay, so basically we don't have anything open right over here, so I'm going to open a blank workbook right now, and now I'm gonna go to my Backstage area. In the Backstage area, I already covered Home, New, and Open, and I also covered Account, Feedback, and Options. So I'm gonna leave those beside, and I'm going to cover these right over here: Info, Save, Save As. There's History, Print, Share, Export, Publish, and Close. So first off, we have is this Info tab right over here, Info button. Now if I click on this, you can see this whole new window opens up. In this window, you can see there are a few options, and there are some properties and related dates and related people that are specified right in the right side of our screen. And on the left side, you can see we have 4 options right over here, which is Project Workbook, Inspect Workbook, Manage Workbook, and Browser View option. Now the first one is Project Workbook, right? Now it says here, control what types of changes people can make to this workbook. Basically, you're giving access to your project to outside people, whoever you choose to give access, right? So basically, you can see if you want to activate it, you can click over here, and you can see there are a lot of options right over here. Basically, you have another contextual menu that pop right up once I clicked on the drop down bar right over here. Okay, so basically it says always open read only, prevent accidental changes by asking readers to opt into editing, encrypt with password, require a password to open this workbook. You can set up a password. Then we have protect current sheet, then control what types of changes people can make to the current sheet. Now there are a lot of options right over here. You can actually select every single one of them, and you can actually give encrypt it with the password, or you can protect it, or you can just give restricted access to people outside of your community or your inner circle. Okay, so that was the Protect Workbook. It's basically a security for your projects. Then we have this Inspect Workbook. Now here it says, before publishing this file, be aware that it contains a author's name and absolute path. Okay, so it's basically a record that you created this file, and your record is already recorded over there, right? So if you want to click on it, you can just go ahead. You'll find all of these options right over here. You can see it has 3 options, which is called Inspect Document, check accessibility, and then check compatibility. So the first one is Inspect Document. Now it says here in the screen tips and in the short description, it says check the workbook for hidden properties or personal information. You can actually inspect your document, and you can get out all of the information that you need, like the personal informations like the name and all other personal informations that are going to be available for that specific project. Then we have check accessibility, which basically says that check the workbook for content that people with disabilities might find difficult to read. Or yeah, you can actually check the accessibility and you can manage the view on how people with disabilities would be able to read. Okay, and then we have is the check compatibility. Now the check compatibility is basically, it says here, check for features not supported by earlier versions of Excel. Basically, if you had overdated Excel and you just recently updated, then you would be able to check the compatibility and compare it, and then you can just add more features that weren't available in the previous versions of Excel. Now this is a neat options that is really good that it's presented right over here. Okay, so now we got the inspect workbook. Basically, you can just inspect it and you can find out a lot of information from one project. So next we have is manage workbook. So right here it says there are no unsaved changes. All right, basically it says here, so I haven't actually saved anything or I haven't recorded anything, so it actually says there are no unsaved changes. Yeah, it makes sense. Now if I click on manage workbook right over here, you can see two drop down bars. It appears one is recover unsaved workbooks and then delete all unsaved workbooks. Now this is actually a very important option or command, whatever you want to call it. Actually it is very, very important, because if you haven't saved one of your documents, you can actually retrieve it by going to this option and you can activate it right over here. It says right here, recover unsaved workbooks, browse recent unsaved files. So Excel will eventually have a record of your unsaved files, and that's how you can recover your works that would be considered gone after you indirectly close Microsoft Excel, right? So this is a very useful option in my opinion. So the next and last and not the least option is the browser view options. Okay, so in the screen tips you can see it says pick what users can see when this workbook is viewed on the web. Okay, so basically you can actually choose what people would like to see or not like to see, what you would want people to see on your Excel sheet or anything else if you're viewing it on a web. Okay, so if you're viewing it on the internet, then you can actually use this option to edit and you can actually modify your Excel sheet for people to see how you want them to see it. All right, so that is basically option, a pretty useful option in my opinion. So that was basically the info tab right over here, and in the right side you can see you'll find properties and then size not saved yet. Basically because the blank worksheet that I opened, it is actually contextual to this info right over here, so you can actually edit it from over here. So you can see the properties, size not saved yet, title didn't add a title, categories no categories, release date, the date is gonna be today because I created this workbook today, so it says here created today. All right, so then we have related people is the author, which is me, and it's just saying that this PC which is used to create this. All right, so the author is related to this, and then add an author. You can actually change your name. Then last modified by, it's not saved yet at all. So here if you want to choose all properties, you can see there the drop down bar opens up and there are more properties right over here, like manager, specify, all of these other things as well. You can see here status, templates, no templates has been added, status, add text, categories, you can add a category, and then hyperlink base as well, and then you can specify your company if you have one as well. All right, and then next we have is this save option right over here, and we have another one which is save as. Right now basically save as is immediately saving as you want it to save. Now if I click on save, it will immediately be saved in the same name like book 2, like I want to save it. Now if I want to change the name, I can do that as well. All right, so if you want to change, let's say, the name, you can click on save as, and then they're gonna ask you where you want to save this in. you can select this any type of folder that you want. Let's say I want to select it in here, right over here, and you can see it immediately asks me what the file name should be. If I want to make this, let's say let's give it my first Excel file, right? And now if I click on enter, it's already saved, and now you can see at the top bar right over here it says my first Excel file, right? So now it's changed the name to whatever this is. All right, so let's go back and right over here, so you understood what save as is. Now if I click on save, it will just immediately save it as it is, right? So that is the save and save as button. So next we have is the history. So we don't have a history right now, so it's not showing the option. So next we have is the print. Now if you want to print it, you can just go over here and then you can connect your printer and then print it very easily. Then we have share, and you can share emails, you can share it in emails, or you can save to cloud, or you can share it with other people's with Microsoft account as well. Alright, so that is very easy and very useful as well. Alright, so there's export as well. So if you want to save this as a PDF or XPS file, or if you want to change the file type, you can use go to this option right over here and create. You can just click on create PDF or XPS file. Okay, so we're not gonna hover over much over here. We're gonna go back to this publish. If I click on publish, you can see here it says publish to Power BI. Now you can see here it also says here. Now if you want to publish this in BI, you can do that as well. So I'm not gonna go over here. What I'm gonna go over is this close button right over here. Just notice if I close it, you can see the old file has been closed. Now this is another file. Now it takes me back to the start screen, which I showed you earlier in the lesson as well. Alright, so I hope you understood the Backstage area of Microsoft Excel, right? And you are much more familiar with the interface right now. Alright, so we're gonna move on to another lesson, and we're gonna go into a blank workplace, and I'm going to show you how you can change or customize your quick access toolbar in the next lesson. Okay, so before seeing you guys there, I'm just gonna end this lesson right over here. Okay, goodbye.